This is the Unnamed Real Estate Podcast, episode 16. My name is Ray Dawson, and I'm an associate broker with ProStar Realty. So this week's episode is going to be a little short. We're going to go straight to the numbers after this because I did the Weasel of the Week earlier, and that dropped a couple days ago. Thank you very much for Shannon Rankin for getting me that weasel image that I used to create the little intro screen and everything. That was really helpful because I really can't draw, and Microsoft Paint is not my friend when it comes to drawing weasels. It looked like a Rorschach test. So this week, just to touch on something really quick, because this seems to be the topic of the day. Buyer's love letters. You might have heard of these things before. This is where the buyer writes a letter to the seller explaining who they are and why they want the house. This was used, it's been used for about the last, well, at least, last 10, 15 years or so. What it is, it's a buyer who is sitting there, and I'll write one for you real quick. Dear seller, me and my wife love this property. We can see our kids playing in the backyard underneath that great oak tree. We love the downstairs bedroom with the bathroom because my invalid mother can use that and will never have to walk up the stairs to go to bed. We also love the fact that it's within walking distance of our synagogue. Please sell us this house. So, sending a letter across like that was really good way back in the day to take your offer and sort of set it aside. You're suddenly putting a face to the piece of paper. Oh yeah, the family with the invalid moms who's living with them, and they want to be able to walk to synagogue. What that letter does to the seller is it exposes them to a potential fair housing violation. If they decide not to sell that, the original fair housing laws came into place to combat discrimination in real estate. This is a topic that is constantly reoccurring in the real estate profession. The rules changed. They started adding new protected classes on it. Right now it's race, color, national origin, sex, religion or creed, physical disabilities, familiar status, and different variations. Different municipalities have different additions to it. Like Tucson, you can't discriminate against sexual orientation. All right. There is a movement at the national level to get veteran status. All right. Down there, as one of the reasons. You cannot discriminate against veterans. You cannot discriminate because they're not veterans. All right. That one hasn't been passed, but there's been some communication on that. We don't know if it's going to come out in a couple of years or so. But it's not just the real estate agents and lenders and appraisers who can get in trouble for this. It's actually the sellers. All right. And you as a seller need to know that if any time you're looking at anything but the price and the terms and conditions of that offer, and you start looking at the buyer, the individual, and going, I don't like that person because they're one of those people, whatever those people are, odds are you're coming across a fair housing violation yourself as the seller of that property. So when a buyer writes you that love letter, and let's go back to that, right? Me and my wife, right, married. All right. Our children in the backyard, physical handicap with mom, and we're walking to synagogue. Draw the lines on that one. All right. So those are various different ways that a seller who decides they're not going to, is exposed and can discriminate against that buyer. So the National Association of Realtors in about the last year or so has come out with guidance from upon high to strongly discourage buyers' letters. And today, I actually saw a listing today that said seller will not accept buyer's love letters. Right? That is an agent who has informed their seller of the potential risk to them if they even start accepting these things. Because if the buyer has the perception that they wrote something down on that letter that made you, the seller, decide not to sell that house to them, right? They can come after you with a fair housing violation. So it's better not to know about the individuals behind the contract at all. The only thing you should worry about is how much are they offering and how are they going to be able to perform. Seriously, right? And buyers are really, really struggling out there, and they're looking for any possible way to get ahead of the rest of the pack on, when they submit an offer. How do I differentiate my offer from the other 34 people who just came and wrote an offer this weekend? And boss called right there, so I had to take that phone call, so I edited it out. This is a really heavily edited video, and this takes a lot more time and effort. That's why I like that stream of consciousness, is go for it from beginning to end. And there's somebody else calling me. What the hell, people? So, going back to that, back in episode 4, we covered what the elements of the offer was. And go back and watch that. Know that it's more than just the price that you're offering. And when a buyer's sitting there and they are going over and they feel that they were the best and the highest, they must have the best offer out there. Buyer might start perceiving, well, maybe it's something that we did, maybe it's who we are, and you don't want that conversation to start. Buyers, it's the seller is looking at the elements of your offer; they're not looking at you. And if for some reason you think you are being discriminated against, Arizona state has resources on there where you can actually go and start filing that complaint on that if you think you're being discriminated against. From the seller standpoint, you look at what the offer is, you don't look at the people. I can't stress this strongly enough. And long story short, this is why we don't do letters anymore. This is why, good agents are not passing those on. Good agents are telling sellers, hey, we're not taking that, just like I was telling you about that MLS listing we saw earlier today. And so buyers, when your agents, when you start coming at your agent, say, hey, should I write a letter? And they tell you no, understand, these are the reasons why we're not doing letters anymore. So we're going to finish up with the numbers right here, and you guys have a great day. Now the numbers for May 19th, 2021. Our actives this week are 4,504. That's up 101 from last week. Our pendings are at 2,065, which is up 54. Our closed are 2,507, which is up 274, recovering from the downturn you always see after the end of the month. Under contract, looking for backups are at 1319, which is up 59. That includes the house that was sent to me by a wholesaler today that wanted to know if we had any buyers who were interested in it, and it's actually been under contract looking for backups from a person who actually marketed it on MLS. So that's an interesting thing you need to watch out for, kids. When somebody makes you an offer on your property, make sure they're actually interested in buying it themselves and aren't trying to wholesale it, because I'll guarantee if that buyer cannot find somebody to take that property off his hands, they're going to cancel out and you're going to be right back on the market where you started. And finish it all up, our contracts with buyer's contingency, we're at 89, which is up 7.